So today we did a short drive to a place called Sultangarh. Now this place is quite famous, or let's say infamous for its waterfall, which gets very rigorous and very dangerous during the monsoon season. This entire area that you see is a rock bed sort of a place, which is on the upper part of the waterfall. Water flows from here into a pit that is some distance ahead. Now during the monsoon, it is not possible, or at least it is not possible to safely approach this place because the flow of the water is so hard that uh, it is not recommended by people or by police to come here. They actually set up a police chowki at the start of the route so that you cannot effectively get here. Now, since it is not the monsoon and the entire place is dry, we decided to explore the trails that are here. The rock bed is quite large and it is wavy, it is uneven, but it's not that uneven that you can't drive on it. There are some places where you have that wheel suspension sort of a thing where two of the wheels are off the ground, but those can be easily handled. So that is what we tried to do, and that is what we tried to experience. At some places there was water flowing in very small quantities. It was very slippery to walk through, but we did not have much issue getting the car out of this place. Now places such as these, there is some water and it is very slippery, and there is a gap that you see. This water that you see is not as shallow as it looks. It's a deep sort of a channel, and there is a rock over there. If you can see it, it is right under the wheel on the left. Now there is a rock that is the only strip of gap that I can get the wheel over from. So basically, what I'm trying to do right now, and the reason why I'm taking so much time to do it, is that I need to get my left wheel exactly in the middle of that rock. If I fail to do that, the wheel will slip off the rock and into the gap. So right now, in the first try, I probably was not confident that the wheel is on the rock. So I took the car in reverse, got a better look, got a better opinion from Vishesh, who is basically guiding me here. So right now he's telling me exactly where the rock is. So here I go again. Right now I am heading towards the rock. Now, whenever you are doing trails like this, it is very important to not be in a hurry. It is very important to be very relaxed, because it is essential that you get your wheels in the right place. It all depends, your success or your getting stuck basically depends on you getting your wheels in the right place, as I actually demonstrated in my video that was shot in Tigra a couple of Sundays back. Now my left front wheel is on that rock. It's in the middle of that rock, and I'm actually slowly crossing that. Now over here you will see an issue that pertains to the specific car. Now look at me as I am going ahead. Right now I have got my front wheel through the rock. Just now. Okay, the front wheel is through that rock, and now it is the turn of the rear wheel to go on that rock. So basically I am reconfirming if the rear wheel is in the right line or not. Now look at us as we go ahead. As you can see, the vehicle is rising up and the rear part of the vehicle is going down. So now the rear wheel is on that rock, and now comes the issue. The wheels have lost traction. Now what I realized is that as soon as you get any wheel off the ground by 12 inches or above, let's say 14 or 15 inches or even 12 inches, all the four wheels, it doesn't matter if 4x4 is switched on or off, lose traction. Now at this point, the only solution is to try and pull the differentials. The slight issue with differentials is, although differentials, I'll say that differentials work very well. Even in this case, you will notice that as soon as I pull differentials, the vehicle comes out without any effort. But pulling the differentials is hard. Right now, you can see, look at me from the glass. You can't see me from the glass because I am because basically I am down trying to pull that differential. I'm trying to pull the rear differential, and it takes quite some effort and it takes quite some turning to do that. It's not exactly easy. So you can see how long it is basically taking me to pull that differential. Now once I had pulled it, as you can see, very easily the car comes out. And now for the second issue. Now as soon as I get here, I did not notice that there is a elevation on the right wheel. Okay, now as soon as I went ahead, the suspension arm basically hit the rock just on the side of the wheel, and I heard a slight noise, and the guy who was pointing me towards the right line noticed that too, and basically he told me to stop. So I pulled back. Now look at the solution that I make over here. I simply turned the wheel. Now as I turn the wheel, what happens is that the wheel turns and the rubber basically comes in between the rock and the arm. So basically now we have the rubber facing the rock, and as I push the vehicle forward, the rubber climbs on to the rock and the arm becomes protected. Now this is a very simple solution. You don't need to really worry about the arm. If your arm is hitting a rock, it's basically because you're taking the wrong line. As soon as you correct the line, as soon as you get the vehicle into the right position, in most of the cases you will notice that the vehicle easily crosses through. Now we had the option to basically keep going ahead, but I was quite satisfied with what the place at which we had come. We had a good view and we had had a good experience of driving on the rock. So this is the point where I turned around. So I'm basically backing the vehicle up right now. This is the end point where we reached on the trail. Right now, as you can see, there is very less water here. If you come here during the monsoon, you will actually notice the huge difference that comes in the quantity of water that you see now and that you will see when there is monsoon. So I have turned the vehicle back, and right now we are going back the same route that we came from. Now you will get a better look on the rock channel that I was talking about. So this is the flow at the end of the view. So look at that. That is the rock on the rightmost side of the screen. Okay. So now we are approaching it, and now what has changed slightly is the inclination of the route that we are taking. Earlier we were going from a lower point on the route to the higher point. We were going up a slope. Now we are going down a slope. So that means we will have it easier. But it is still essential for me to get the wheel on that rock. So look at me trying to get the wheel exactly on that rock. Now the front wheel, the driver's side front wheel has lost traction, but since we are going down the slope, so it is not difficult to really move the vehicle forward. I just had to leave the brakes and it moved forward. Now for the rear wheel. Now just imagine if I had dropped or slipped that rear wheel or front wheel off that rock, the car would have got stuck so easily. But just because I took the right line, just because I took my time to basically confirm that I was going on the right line and had some patience, that I did not face any issues at this point. I'm just telling this and reiterating this so that you really give it more of a consideration when you are doing such trails. It is very important to really consider these things when you are doing these trails, because this is a make or break situation with this car. Now I'm going slowly ahead. Yeah, another thing that I would like to mention is most of the trails that we do, which are in other areas, like even in Chambal or in some areas of Tigra, they are on routes that have soil on them, sand on them, or even rock that is softer. Now, this rock is very hard. So if the vehicle hits it, there is this rock won't even get a scratch. What will get scratched is whatever hits this rock. So it is very essential that you basically keep your car in line to avoid any damage. So this is the easy part. We are just going uh, across the rock bed that we came from. there are just a few short, climb steps sort of things that I am going up. Now when you're going up these steps, it is important to get both the wheels in line. See, look at that, this is the small step, and it is important to just give some accelerator and get the vehicle from the lower part to the upper part in one go, because these steps are short, these steps are sharp. So it is important that the rubber part of the tire does not stay on the sharp part of the rock for a very long time. It just goes and it climbs up, because that sharp part can actually damage that wheel. This is a very flat part. This was a very beautiful flat part. It actually looked like a floor, but it is not a floor, it is just rock. Now look at this. This is one thing that I wanted to point out. Now earlier I mentioned that as soon as you get one of the wheels 12 inches or above off the ground, all the four wheels lose traction. Now at this point I just wanted to demonstrate that, so I found a rock which is lying on the ground, and look at this. Look at what happens now. Now I have got one of the wheel, the driver side front wheel, off the ground, and it is sufficiently off the ground. Now this is the point at which if I accelerate any further, the vehicle will not move. Now look at me try to move the vehicle forward. It will not move. So this is what happens. As soon as you get one of the wheels sufficiently above the ground, it will not move. Now look at me what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm trying to pull the differential. Right now I'm trying to pull the front differential. Okay. And I'm trying to go at it again. There we go. I suppose that front differential was not properly pulled, and so it tried to move ahead, but it did not move ahead much. So I got scared. I thought, okay, let's not do this, and I put back the front differential. I unlocked it, and then I came back out. But the idea of this exercise was simply to demonstrate what works and what does not work. So you just have to be careful about this part. As soon as your one wheel is sufficiently off the ground, you need to be thinking about pulling that differential, because no matter what you do from there, the vehicle is not going to move, because all the wheels simply lose traction. Now this is not a thing to get worried about. At this point, the only thing that you need to do is get the other set of wheels to a differential locked position. For example, in that case, I basically had the front wheel of the ground, so what I should have done is get the rear differentials locked. Now this is the easy part where we have soil and when we have some rock. So this is the part, this is also basically a rock bed under there. But since this is the slower moving water type of part, so there is a lot of soil which is has been eroded onto this place. It has settled over here. So that is why the rock is under the soil, and it's relatively much easier to basically move the car through this part. This is getting out of the trail. This is the final basically point of the trail that we are getting out of right now. As soon as I am out of this final patch of rock, we are out of the trail. So that's it for the Sultangarh trail. I hope I learned some good things out of this trail, and I hope that you got to know some good things out of this video. The idea of the narration is simply to explain what I am trying to do. Basically, when you look at the videos, you think that okay, why is this guy going so slow, why is he being so over careful, but there is always an idea to keep it safe and to keep learning. I don't have much experience of off-roading, and I don't have much experience of how 4x4 vehicles work. So for me it is extremely essential that I take everything slowly and take everything from a point of view that I have to learn and I have to get better at these things.